ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. This is Daily Dive. It is Monday, January 12th, 2026. I am your host, Michael Karvelis, and this show begins now. We are live streaming via the airwaves of North American Talk Radio on YouTube. We ask that you subscribe before you leave today's episode for other great shows, live sports, videos, and of course, this show's content. On today's awesome show, we're going to have Week 7 overreactions with Pat Gregoire and Captain. We are also going to give my 3 stars of the weekend. I'm very excited for today's show. Reminder, before we get started, that this show is presented by the ticketing platform at natalkradio.com. Head over to the North American Talk Radio website and click the event tickets tab to get tickets to your favorites or local National Lacrosse League team today. Reminder, when you go there, it takes you straight to the Vivid Seats platform. It helps us out by using the website before you go. Well, folks, before we get started, I want to let you know that we also have merchandise, because who doesn't love a good or a great mug? If you go to dailylifelax.creator-spring.com, you can get said mug. I believe it's like $15.95 USD. Which isn't terrible, by the way. You can also get a shirt that also has the Box Lacrosse Time font on it. Games this week. I want to get to some attendances before we get started here as well. Because in this weekend, I thought it was interesting because I know that, like, Ottawa supposedly had 4,563 people there. Thought that was a little bit fishy. Because it looked like it was about 3,000 people. I still hope that Ottawa continues to grow. I know they have some diehard fans, but it's certainly a little bit scary there. Oshawa was sold out. Good for them. Vegas had another 5,100. Calgary had their lowest attendance since COVID, when we came back from COVID, and they had like half the stadium used. I haven't gone back and seen how historically bad the 8,799 actually was, but I'm kind of scared with that. Rochester had, I believe, their most attendance with the new Nighthawks. I believe that's the case. And Nighthawks Network, by the way, had a great Instagram post where he was like showing like as the final buzzer sounded and the Nighthawks won the game. We know the Buffalo Bills fans helped pack that barn out. All the Nighthawks fans in the lower bowl stood up and cheered, and all the orange jerseys were just sitting there. It is a great video. Spencer Conley with a great stuff there. I highly recommend checking that out. And now it's time to bring on the kid, Pat Gregoire. I'll call him Kid. How you doing, man?
Doing great, Mike. Victory Monday for myself, being a Buffalo Bills fan. That's why I'm rocking the full garb, but I know it's time to talk about lacrosse. But I had to do a little bit of celebration because that was a massive victory for my Bills.
Make sure to make sure the microphone's toggled on the thing, by the way. But no, we do hear you. I just want to sound like you're in a can the entire time.
How's that?
Yes, you're great. Woo, you're back.
Perfect.
No, but Jaguars, unbelievable. You said it to me, and I knew it was Trevor Lawrence, and you had to make one extra play. You didn't, so there you go.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's it's finally nice to see that the Buffalo Bills defense could come up with a big play in a big moment and not allow to waste Josh Allen being a superhero in a big game once again.
That's what he does, man. Reminder to the people to stay tuned for one of my favorite new graphics on the show, which would be Greggy's Grinder. It's gonna be awesome, dude. It's gonna be great. And you have 3 candidates today, right?
I do, yes.
Cool. All right. Let's talk about, we have 4 games for you and then, of course, 4 for Captain. So you had a busy weekend. By the way, the first thing we're going to talk about is the one that you called You're also at the Oshawa game. But Halifax and Ottawa, Halifax won that game 13-11. 4,500 people in attendance. You were with Teddy and Ashley, who also did a great job. Tyson Bell had another goal. He's got 3 this year, surprisingly, with 5 caused turnovers. Jake Withers dominated the dot. Warren Hill, 47 saves and a Del Bianco assist. Will McLeod, though, oh my goodness. What did you see from the game? And then we'll get to the overreaction question after that.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game from both sides, to be quite honest. And again, kind of a slow start for Halifax,
right,
in that first half. And but just one thing that time and time again that we saw, I mean, it changed a little bit on Saturday, but Warren Hill kept them in it pretty early on,
right,
and allowed that offense to figure things out. But yeah, no doubt, Will McLeod, the big story here. What a debut for him. He looked like he fit in that offense just absolutely perfectly.
Did you do you think the fatigue, because I know, like, Captain brought this up as a great point, that on a back-to-back, the team always like seems to get at least one home game. Do you think this travel mattered, or you're not putting much stock in that?
I'm really not putting a ton of stock into that. I mean, it's obviously difficult to play back-to-back games,
Right.
but being at home for Halifax really doesn't mean much. I think, honestly, this is probably the easiest back-to-back in the National Lacrosse League, or
Fair
one
point.
of the easiest one. You're looking at a 4-hour bus ride from Ottawa to Oshawa.
Fair.
So they leave after the game. They get to sleep in the hotel. They wake up, they're at morning shoot-around, whereas if you had to fly out, you're not flying out until game day. So I actually think that this is a fairly easy back-to-back. But with that being said, you could clearly tell the fatigue settled in. They didn't start out on time. They had the quote-unquote bus legs, and just were never really to find their footing after that.
Good game, though, for the first one. That was good to get a win in there. So is Will McLeod just what the doctor ordered for the Halifax offense? That's the overreaction question.
I don't know if he's what the doctor ordered per se, but I think he's more of that old school remedy that your grandma has passed down from generations and generations. And, it's going to soothe that sore throat that you have, but eventually you're going to just have to bite the bullet and go to the doctor and get some real medication, because I think there are some issues with this offense. But with that being said, and I'll get to those in a minute, Will McLeod has had one of the best rookie debuts we've seen in recent memory. 4 goals, 2 assists. I mean, it goes up there. It is one of the most impressive in NLL history, especially considering it's not like game 1 in the lineup right away. This is a guy that has been sitting in the press box waiting for his return, and you could tell he was eager to get things going. One of the main concerns and thoughts, I guess not concerns, sorry, one of the main shockers that people were kind of surprised that he dropped all the way to 12 was that lacrosse IQ that he has. He's so smart, seems to be in the right place at the right time, and I think that is exactly why Halifax, when the opportunity at number 12 for them to draft him, they took him, because let's be honest, they have a ton of lefties on that roster as it is. They moved Bo Hunter back to the back door to give some opportunities to other guys. They have Jason Knox. A guy like Mike Robinson was out of the lineup on Friday night to allow McLeod to get in, but he's just too good of a prospect, too good of a player, and obviously on Friday night proved that he deserved to be in the lineup. I think they're going to have a really hard time taking him out. Sure, he wasn't as great on Saturday night, but the entire team wasn't great. I love that he's able to create his own shot. He doesn't have the hardest shot on the planet, but he uses the defenders as a screen really well. A very deceptive shot, very accurate shot, and as we saw on his 3rd goal, he was in the right place at the right time. And on that 4th goal, not afraid to get to the middle of the floor. Really, really nice stuff. I thought McLeod was great. But to answer your question, no, I don't think he's going to solve all the issues. He's going to help. What this offense needs right now is an elite, not even an elite, but they need another top righty on that offense. There's just too much pressure on Clark Peterson and Randy Stotts on that right side. They are terribly, terribly missing Thomas Hogarth, and all indications, reports from, Elliot Frickman, he's saying that he could be back by the end of the season into playoffs. I obviously believe his reporting, but if he went under the knife and has already had surgery, I have a hard time believing he's going to be ready. And if he is, like, how how healthy is he really going to be? There's basically no room for any setbacks as well. So they got to go out, I think, if they want to be a championship contender. This is not a knock on Brendan Bomberry. I think Brendan Bomberry is more suited as a transition player, Mike. And to be honest, Watts comes in the lineup, and I know he scores a goal. It's kind of in garbage time, but I just don't think he's ready to be an NLL everyday player as it stands right now.
For the record, I still have no idea where the Cody Jansen Bears fandom comes from. He's told me a million times and I'll never understand it. I just had to say that. Okay.
Well, hey, Cody, that was an unbelievable comeback win. So I'll give you guys kudos. I would totally sign off on a Bills Bears Super Bowl. That'd be a lot of fun.
All right, whatever. So my answer to the question of is Will McLeod what the doctor ordered for the offense? I like him because he's athletic, and it may be temporary fix for what people think the offense looks like. 13 goals in a game against the Black Bears. I mean, yeah, would you have like 15 or 16? Sure. But I thought that the Thunderbirds offense, like you said, they may have started slow. But I mean, I thought they were going to score 13 against a kind of team like this, and that's what they did. I'll be honest, watching that game and watching the Oshawa game, the reverse transition, and since you mentioned it on the show, I've kind of been watching for it. I have a theory on why that's happening. We have so many, these guys are good players, but Cody Jamieson, Dawson Theed, Randy Stotts, they're big bodies. And that's hard to get off the floor. And I think they're trying to get off the floor, but there were so many times where I'm like, no wonder the Black Bears are wide open because you guys are like, huh. That's why the athleticism needs to happen more so is because that reverse transition is brutal because of that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm more concerned about.
It's a great point, Mike, and that's why, like, I know there's a lot of discourse online saying, like, Dawson Theed needs another bruiser alongside him on the left side, and that's why I said no, they don't. They need more athleticism. I was banging the drum yesterday, telling folks saying, like, listen, just relax. Will McLeod's going to come into this lineup,
right,
and he's going to look really, really good. I would like to see Robinson and McLeod together in another game as well, but I mean. Jason Knox comes out of the lineup, and I know he doesn't put up the big numbers, but he really does play really well, away from the ball, without the ball in his stick. And he's a guy, despite his size, he actually tracks hard to the bench. He's a guy that really does work hard to get off the floor. So that's a great point, Mike. Aside from what he does when the ball is in the offense, one thing that he certainly does as well is getting back in transition. But I think those issues have to be solved, but I just really believe that this team's going to be a championship contender. They have to find a void for Thomas Hogarth.
Fair.
He is leaving such a massive void on that right side right now. It's so apparent.
Fair point. On an emotional night that even for some reason got me emotional, I made a tweet about it too. Vancouver goes into Calgary, and God Almighty, if they could just cover the 1.5, that would have been special. But who cares? They do win 11-10 in overtime after blowing a 10-5 lead. Curtis Dixon had 4 goals, and that included the game winner. Vancouver, the power play was probably the difference in this game. 5 of 6 for Vancouver, 1 of 5 for Calgary. And Max Adler, talk about doctor ordering stuff, 10-14 against the Nationals, not too shabby for your off day. Well, for coming back, I mean. Aiden Walsh and Del Bianco, 42 saves each. Aiden Walsh looked good. What did you see from this game? And then we'll get to the overreaction pretty soon.
Well, this was, you said it, it's an emotional game. And I think I said it when chatting with you beforehand on Friday that both sides would be fired up and both sides would have that motivation. We obviously know the Calgary side wants to play well for Dane Dobie. They want to put on a show. They're also feeling really good about themselves after knocking off San Diego. And on the flip side, we know, Vancouver, they're a team that has all played, like a good chunk of that team had played with Dane Dobie. So a lot of emotions. We'll get to some of the concerns. But I think this proves that Calgary's a little bit better than what a lot of folks thought coming into this year. At least the offense certainly looks pretty strong. Aiden Walsh was fantastic in between the pipes. I'm curious to see these two teams next week or I guess this week in Edmonton, Georgia, and Calgary going toe to toe. I think that's going to be a great game in Edmonton. But overall, I think the better team won, but maybe the better team got a little bit lucky and found a way to win.
Yeah, so this question was almost going to be, is Calgary the best, worst team ever? I love when your AI camera just zooms out for you. That's so funny. Anyways, I find it interesting that Calgary is going to be competitive as heck in every game. And it's funny because I don't know if it's going to push them over that win total of 6, but I feel like we're going to sweat that some games for people that have the under 6.
Yeah.
They're just looking too good sometimes.
Yeah, I think it will be close, and I think they're going to be competitive in every single game. They have the offense where they're not going to be out of it. Right. I think for me, Mike, though, it's like the big, and I don't want to say question mark, but like it's just Aiden Walsh is going to have to be on top of his game if they're going to knock off some of those teams. And man, I thought he was great. I thought he was great in a revenge spot against his old team. So yeah, they're going to be a plucky team all season long.
It's like plucking hairs. You don't want to do it, but you're going to play them anyways. All right. So level of concern meter. I love these meters. Out of 10, how concerned are you with Vancouver on the open end? And that is great. Just concern meter out of 10.
This one's tough, Mike, because it's not just the offense or the numbers, the lack of offense or lack of scoring that is concerning. For me, it's the 5-on-5 even strength that has been quite shocking, to be honest. According to Ty Merrill and the awesome analytic works that he does at Ty Merrill Lax, they've only scored 12 even strength goals settled in 4 games. That is one of the least efficient settled 5-on-5 offenses in the league. I believe only Georgia has a least efficient offense. And if it wasn't for this great transition game and an absolute lethal special teams on the power play and some great shorthanded abilities to score the ball, this team could be in a lot of trouble. But with that being said, Mike, weird schedule for them to start the year. They start November 29th against Colorado opening week, and they don't play again until the 13th of December when they then go to Oshawa the very next week, but they're on the road. And then we don't see them again until this past Friday. Like, we're talking 3 weeks off. A lot of changes on that offense. They still need to find themselves and gel, and having game two weeks off, game, a week off, hasn't allowed this offense to fully gel. They look great on the power play, almost automatic at some point. But when it comes to 5-on-5, they need to figure things out. So my number that I'll say for the level of concern, I'm just going to stick with a 5. I'm going to stick with a 5. If we're talking in a couple weeks, Mike, and they're still near the bottom of offenses in the league, then I think I'm going to start jacking it up. But I'm going to keep it at a 5. I'm concerned, but I'm not panicking anytime yet.
Before I get to what my meter is, I forgot to mention these stats. Vancouver's tied for second worst goals per game. They're last in loose balls, and that one's a little bit concerning as well. I will say this, though. I'm going to 7.5. I couldn't go an 8. I could not go an 8 because that seems too high. 7.5 because I thought they were in the conversation with Saskatchewan and Buffalo. Not for me. Not right now. I thought that this would be a slow start, which is why I was so mad at myself for getting them tied for the 1 seed. But I feel like we're going to lose. They might lose some games here, man. And I don't think it's going to be a lot of games, but I feel like it'll be more than I thought they would. And because, you're too good. Like, Del Bianco, good for him, holding down the fort, which is what this game came down to, was him making more saves as well. But, I mean, you can't. It's too inconsistent. And I know, their inconsistent scheduling. I can't. Sorry, man. You guys are too good. 7.5 for me.
Yeah, you know what, Mike? That's beyond fair. Beyond fair. I'm going to give them a little bit of the benefit of doubt that they need to gel, but it's shocking. Like, it's alarming to see, to be quite honest, with all those superstars up there.
Agreed. Third game, Saskatchewan at Vegas. In front of another good crowd for Henderson Barn. Rush win 21-15. I told people the Rush, man, their offense can do what it needs to, and it needed to do 21. It did. They also had like a bigger, I think it was like 20-11 at one point. This game was not even close. Talrohima Jackson and Jake Naso in the battle of Mike versus Tim Dillon. Pat, 27-38 means I get a victory there of 70% from Jake Naso. Thank you, sir. Ryan Keenan, sock trick, back-to-back great games. The game was so great for him. Those 12 points, 12 loose balls, and 1 caused turnover. Adam Levy says first player in all history. Not too shabby. That was incredible stat line, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Zach Manson and Austin Shanks each had 4 goals. Caleb Kahn did come in 2 different stints, which I did not like. But 9 goals, 17 shots on goal. He was pretty bad. He did make some good saves, like of those 9 saves, but he was obviously not ready with 15 minutes played. We'll just jump to the overreaction question if you want to here.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Will the Rush be in the finals? Boom.
Right now, my answer is yes, and at the start of the year, I believe it was yes as well. I think I said we're going to get a rematch from last year's finals. They are the most well-rounded team right now in the NLL.
Yeah.
They've got great goaltending in Frank Giuliano. They have an aggressive defense that can push the ball in transition, and they've got an offense that you can't really just pick one player or 2 players to shut down. They have guys that are capable of going off on all nights, and they have different styles of players to boot as well. You've got athletic players like a Zach Mans. You have cerebral players like Keenan. You have clutch shooters like Austin Shanks. The list goes on and on. This is the most well-rounded team, the most balanced attack in the NLL. And they are a team that can win these high-scoring affairs. They're also a team that can win the low-scoring, grinded-out battles. They look like they are well-oiled. When you look at some of these other top teams in the league, when you look at Vancouver, we just talked about some of their issues they're going through right now. When you look at Buffalo, they're banged up. They still are trying to find life after Chris Cloutier and Chase Fraser on that offensive side of the ball with some of those depth pieces. When you look at Rochester, great weekend for them with two wins. Woo! 2 impressive wins, but let's also not forget what happened the week before. We need to see that consistency going forward. So you want to talk about consistency, I'd say outside of that loss to Ottawa, where they were admittedly, it was one of the worst games that they've played as a group over the past couple of years.
Right.
This has been a consistent group. This has been a deadly group. And I don't know how you can't say that this team does not deserve to be in the finals. They're mid-season form, and we're just a quarter through the season so far.
And I don't think they're peaking either. I feel like some seasons when they start off hot, it's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to them in the end? This team's been that iron fist for a while. I know I keep looking back to that Game 3 second half after it's over when Jimmy Quinlan and Frank Giuliano just looked pissed, which I loved. You mentioned 2 great words there, well-oiled, great by you, and also cerebral Ryan Keenan. That probably describes him. Like, he's not flashy, but my God, he'll pick you apart like Graham Hossick, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, 34. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, though. 34 points in 6 games, like sneakily climbing up the leaderboard for points. I think he's in 6th right now, averaging almost 6 points a game. So he's not on the level of a Jeff T, Connor Fields, like that type of thing. But at the end of the year, he's going to probably be in the top 10 of scoring. It's going to be a career year for him. And I think a lot of folks kind of are now starting to see how valuable he is. I said it last year. I think he honestly is one of the most underrated players in the game.
So will the Rush be in the finals? This is like kind of an unfair question for both of us. I also have them in the finals. I might as well lock it in, dude. I mean, this is 5-1, and the loss to Ottawa was tough because I think against Halifax, maybe it was Halifax, but there was another player who also beat Bobby Kidd. I was like, hold on a minute. We don't want these one-on-ones with Giuliano too much here. But they're so well-rounded. And their road, the last 2 or 3 years, their road dominance has been so impressive. To walk into Vegas and not give a crap about who they were or who they were offensively, unbelievable stuff for the Rush, man. The road is going to make them even better than what they are. So, next game here. Toronto at San Diego. Toronto wins 12-7. CJ Kirst, 5 goals. Trevor Baptiste. Hey, Tim Dillon did call this one. He kept saying it would be a perfect game, and he was right. So 23-23. Cameron Dunkerley did start for San Diego, so context there. Because the question is, did this game prove the face-offs don't matter?
Listen, I feel like we've lost the plot when it comes to this argument.
Thank you.
We have completely lost the plot because now, and it's both sides here. I feel like I'm talking about politics at this point because we're just so far and few between of people kind of being in the middle here. It's either you think that face-offs are the most important thing on the planet, and that if you win the face-off battle, there's a good chance, and you are going to win the game, and you need a face-off specialist, and you need to be in the fight. And on the other side, it's like, well, who cares about the face-off? Just throw a defender out there, muck it up, cause a turnover, and you know what? Hey, let's play it sixes. Actually,
that's easy.
Let's just take the ball out of the net and pass it out. We're playing street ball now. Listen, guys, it's somewhere in between. Do face-offs matter? Yes, they absolutely do. They are so important because if you get more possessions, you have a better opportunity to score. If you're down late in a game and you're trying to come back, sure, winning possession after possession, not allowing the other team to get the ball and start surmounting leads is important. With that being said, though, it doesn't mean that it is the be-all, end-all. All face-offs aren't created equally. And what is most important is what you do when you get the ball, when you win the face-off. And San Diego proved, sure, you win every face-off, but they didn't capitalize on that. They didn't do a good enough job to score off those possessions. So yes, face-offs matter. Yes, face-offs are important. But why do people not like? It's a stat, and it is if you win more face-offs, it can help you win. Do you know what else helps? Loose balls. You know what else helps? Cause turnovers. You know what else help or doesn't help? Turnovers. Why do they not go to the score sheet and immediately look at cause turnovers and say, wow, Halifax had more cause turnovers than Oshawa. Why didn't they win? People don't do that. But with face-offs, they immediately go to the face-offs and say, look at this, San Diego, they won every face-off. Face-offs don't matter. No, guys, that's not how it works. That is not how it works. We've lost the plot of this argument.
I almost went full Buffalo on that one. Man, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought that, look, it's politics, because the thing about politics is people just forget context of everything. Great mug. People just forget context. And I feel like do we not realize that Cameron Dunkerley, God bless him, was in net? I'm not saying really would have won the game, but I mean, he was in net. Do we not realize the Seals offense has not looked great all year? Do we not realize that we are 1 week removed from Kurt Malosky bringing in Max Adler because it mattered so much to him? Is Kurt Malosky a good coach? I don't know. Why bring in a face-off specialist? A Fogo, if you will. Come on, man. I am shocked by using another Trevor Baptiste masterclass as a bad thing now. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I've seen the stats where loose balls are a pain in the butt. And I'm like, whoa. Like, no one's talking. Like, teams are getting dominated, shots on goal, and they're still losing. Come on now. And people always pepper the net. Real quick, Kyle the goalie said face-offs matter. Can't score without the ball. But if your offense sucks, this is what I mean.
Bingo.
The Rock saved Sawyer's job. I love that guy. Still in full down breakdown, then we'll move on here. But I think my whole thing was context. Now people are crazy. Posted this on X. Face-offs matter in the sense that possessions matter. Toronto identified that Baptiste was a strong face-off specialist, chose to attack the possession. He wants people to look at the turnover, specifically from that face-off specialist, San Diego as a whole. I mean, obviously T.D. Irwin's out for the year, according to Tim Dillon, or at least is out for a long time. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's a good point by them. All right. I'm tired of talking about that stuff because good. Thank you for that, by the way. That was epic. That was like choir stuff here. I have some music to play, sir. The Bills won but that wasn't even Pat's favorite part of the week. It's time for again. What are Greggy's grinders?
Love it. I absolutely love it.
What are Greggy's grinders?
All right. Well, like I said, there was a ton of options here. You know, I obviously was in the building on Saturday night for Oshawa against Halifax, and it was, you know, obviously a pretty spirited bout, to say the least. You know, I thought Nick Tchaikovsky was outstanding. I thought he did a really good job in the 5-on-5 game, kind of slowing down some of those stars on Halifax. I think he had like 8 loose balls, a caused turnover. So I was thinking about him possibly. I thought he had a really strong game. I thought Graham Hossack had 2 pretty good games as well, all things considered, especially playing back-to-back games. But you know, you win one game, you lose one game. I was like, I don't know. I want to go here with a guy that made an impact and helped his team come out with a win. And I know normally, Mike, I don't really want to look too much at the box score. But for my grinder, I'm going with the guy that stuffed the box score, but he also did a lot of the dirty work. CJ Kirst.
Love it.
CJ Kirst is my grinder this week. He scores 5 goals, adds an assist, gets 6 points, had 5 loose balls, caused turnover, but he's working hard all over the floor. The other thing, he scores 5 goals, 3 of them left-handed, 2 of them right-handed. He's battling in corners. His engine just does not stop. He is absolutely a grinder. Is he a skilled grinder? Absolutely. But so for CJ Kirst, for the second straight week, I'm surprised going with a forward here instead of defender. But I just think that what Kirst is doing away from the ball when his team turns the ball over, how hard he is working, it's unbelievable. And we always, coming into this draft, talked about consensus number 1. He's a great shooter, a great feeder, supreme athlete. But one of the things that I really was trying to talk about during the draft process was how hard of a worker he is, that dog on a bone mentality. And I thought, you know, on Friday night, we saw that. And I'll be honest, looking at it, 5 loose balls, he should put in a claim against the NLL stat makers, because I think he should have for sure been credited with more than 5 loosies. He was all over the floor, man.
Champion data, you're on notice from Greggy's grinder. Thank you. I love that list. I love that you got someone that you saw in person. That was good too. But no, I love the offensive players getting love here. Connor Fields, Ryan Keenan, and CJ Kirst all had great weeks with just loose balls and like just scoring. It's ridiculous what they can do. Reminds me like Dane Smith, like guys who are just everywhere besides just the points.
Yep.
I've got 3 guys. One of them, well, I'll give a 4th guy. It's an honorable mention, Rylan Hartley, who didn't even want to come in as early as he did for Rochester against Philadelphia, but he did and still held down the fort and helped them get the win and helped them dominate Buffalo, like win against Buffalo.
Sure.
But my top 3, 3rd place, Max Adler from Mike's Lunchbox. 10 wins on the faceoff, 14 for Justin Inacio. His first game since April of 2023. I think those possessions might have mattered late in that game, maybe. 2nd place, faceoffs matter. Trevor Baptiste, 23 of 23, and a block shot, by the way. If he wasn't winning the faceoffs, would they have been in that game? And finally, you know what? This is Jungle Book, by the way.
Ooh, I love it. Bare necessities.
That's right. You know what, Mom? Let's see what Mom got me. Ooh, you ever had Lunchables?
Oh, heck yeah. Absolutely.
Lunchables are so good. So that's a lot of dust. Oh my goodness, Lunchable dust. Unbelievable. Anyways, so what Mike got, a little toy here. The toy is an action figure in the form of Brett Dobson.
Love it.
What else you got to do? You got to do, Pat. 50 saves and 6 goals allowed. What are we going to do, man? It's like doggy to start the year. Unbelievable. Mike's Lunchbox goes to the Dob Man.
I love that. You let in 6 goals in the National Lacrosse League, you deserve to win a game. So you'll give them a little bit of love. I'm excited to see Georgia, Dobson, and that young, youthful defense this week in Edmonton. But a very great pick. Make sure you get that Lunchable dust off you, pal.
Unbelievable. I go to the store and these are awful. Thank you for your time, though, man. Greggy's Grinder was great. Breakdowns were great. Week 7 overreactions are done for you. When we come back, then we're talking to Captain. But Pat, thank you. Happy OTCB. Any parting shots besides Go Bills?
No, it's just Victory Monday. Go Bills.
Go
Bills. Hey, here's the thing. What I will say this. Do you know what team Mr. Teddy Jenner cheers for?
No.
The Broncos. So we've got a podcast rivalry brewing this week. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's hard not to talk NFL. Love it. Love it. Thank you, Pat.
Right.
Pat Gregoire, everybody. That's the good stuff there. Again, Greggy's Grinder. That was fun. Such a throwback there, too. Shout out to my boy Avery for scoring 5 goals for the Stingers. Ooh, another 100% faceoff guy this weekend. Wow. Yeah, no, it stinks, Kai. It really does. Brad Dobson's doing what I thought he could with the offense. I mean, unbelievable. We're going to get to a comment that Kai had earlier about Lyle Thompson as well. We come back, we're talking to Cappy. Captain is back. We had a great week of Preston's picks, money, and then we're going to overreact with Captain as well. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Daily Dive.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
BetUS and North American Talk Radio have partnered to bring you the preferred betting platform in the United States, and you will get a deposit bonus of up to 150% if you use promo code 120Z. Take it from me, I'm a cowboy and a gambler. I wrangle my bets on BetUS, and I use the promo code 120Z to get free money. Yee-haw! That's BetUS and promo code 120Z. Now giddy up.
I did it again. Ha ha! Shame on me. Welcome back to Daily Dive, everybody. I'm your host, Michael Karvelis. You're watching the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. Just so you know. We had boots on the ground this weekend in Oshawa in the form of Captain, who had a great week. We're now going to bring him on. Captain, the man is here. How are you?
Any better? I need a twin, buddy. How you doing?
Well, what, those things that pop out your neck or just like a regular twin? Okay. Yeah. You were seeing on Men in Black. Yeah, whatever. So I have a question for you. First of all, how was your trip? Did you have a good night after the victorious Firewolves win?
Yeah, it's a great trip. Man, Bond Street really puts on a great show before and after the game. That's a great sort of partnership they got out in Oshawa.
I would assume that they do put on a great after party because I've seen you like the pre-games from you. You've never shown me a post-game video. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on in Bond Street, baby?
You gotta pay big money to see what goes on post-game, pal.
What happens in Oshawa stays in Oshawa.
Always, always.
We do have video from the post-game scrum, courtesy of Gary Grube, and of course you were in the scrum as well. But we're gonna get to that soon. So stay tuned for that because Glenn Clark. Chef's kiss, baby. That's all I got to say. But Pat, before we get going here, you had a week of weeks, baby. Your second Preston's Picks win this year. Shout out to you, sir. The kid is in shambles. That's all I know. Also, a free play DraftKings turns to 4,000. How dare you? The Polar Bears called me. They're pissed, dude.
I was on something.
Woo!
You saw last week on Friday there, I was, doing anything I could to give a discount on his EJ so I could get back on the books. And I made him pay, pal.
Yeah, you changed yourself into a 4,000. Oh,
yeah,
man,
she was
that
a good.
brutal.
She was a good week. To be perfectly honest, I think with the way the NLL has been over the past few weeks, I'm learning more and more that you kind of have to wait till game time to make some of your final decisions with, players getting hurt in warmups,
right?
Goalies changing last minute, teams on back-to-back. So which makes it exciting, which, means that any night you don't know who's going to win.
Love it. It's great. I'll be honest. I picked Oshawa. I was scared to death. Again, we're going to get to that. I picked Buffalo on a late best bet that caught some heat.
Yeah.
Scott Loeffler chimed in. There's a conspiracy against Michael now. Unbelievable. Bandits, we got to lose this game so we go 6-1. Shame on him. All right, let's start off now.
I think that's a good tip for anybody that's following you on X. Anytime Mikey throws a last-minute effort, that's a heck of a fade.
Fade him, yeah. I love it. All right, Rochester at Philadelphia. The first game, we're going to do both Rochester games. First one, Rochester wins 16-13 in front of 5,600 Philadelphians who were very vocal to Rowland Hartley saying, "This is our house." This is great. Poor Hartley, he had to come in for 43 minutes after not probably wanting to play at all, but Hutchcraft was not very great to start. Michael Sowers, though, 4 goals for him. Brandon O'Neill also had 2, but this game was about Rochester. No overreaction question here. Just, I know you kind of thought the end of this game was why you ended up going with Rochester for the second game, right?
Yeah. Rochester did themselves no favors by starting off giving up 5-1 and 6-2.
Oh,
but the goalie situation didn't quite work out for them.
no.
But 9 different goal scorers, like they are right. Everybody eats on this team. So once Rochester got going there was no stopping them. And I didn't quite see as much physical play from Philly as we saw in that first game.
The start they did, but they didn't really finish too physical. I agree.
And to my point, like that's what I was telling you. Like if Rochester can, if they would have gotten off to a 5-1 start and then sailed, a little bit easier of a tell for the next game. But Philly kind of just gave up near the end there. So Rochester didn't have a lot of physical, beat downs or anything ending that game. And then they're going home for Buffalo. And then the other aspect of it too is you're right. Like Hartley may not have wanted to start. He may have, well, to be honest, I'm sure he wanted to start. Any, true athlete wants to play every game. Like, don't get me wrong, but people above him have other ideas, but he came into that game and did very well, shut the door, moved the ball. And I think for Philly, that might've been one thing that caught them off guard. Like you're expecting, goalie A to play one way, and then Hartley comes in and like he's quick like a cat. He fires the ball up the field quick. So
right.
A lot of moving parts there. But now Hartley, after coming in, taking over that game, he's going into Saturday thinking like I'm going to let them know that never again are you taking me out, because this is my net and this is my year. So
He's been great.
Good for Rochester there. Philly, on the other hand, they got a few things to sort out, but yeah, great game.
I think after this weekend, because I know you didn't talk Calgary, so we're just going to briefly touch on that. Calgary is probably they're no longer the worst team. I think Philadelphia might be the worst team. Someone's got to be, and it might be them. So
I agree, and I think everyone sort of has been touching on it lately, and I kind of brought it up at the beginning of the year, but Walshy, man, like no one saw him at the end of last season, right? So this guy got the rest, heal himself up.
He was great.
Watch some goal, like good goalies last year, get some tips, and now this season he's back in the pipes and he's ready to show people that you don't want to put me on the bench again.
San Diego in the fourth quarter against Vancouver, he was great. So I give him credit. Against all odds. So before we get going on the next Rochester game, I know we're not going to talk about this again. So Jeremy Thompson had not been that great for them on faceoffs this year. But this kid named Nathan Kapp, who's 24 years old, he's from Middleton, Wisconsin, comes in. According to the NLL website, he joined the Nighthawks as an undrafted free agent, I believe, this season. He played 5 seasons at Jacksonville University as a Dolphin, which I guess is the Jacksonville University Dolphins. He set a school record for face-off wins. He did great in the game against Nick Rowlett. He also held his own against Connor Farrell, and I thought that was a big deal for them. So now we move on to that game against Buffalo. I talked to Pat beforehand. I'm going to tell you, there's a Nighthawks Network post by Spencer Conley from the barn when Rochester wins. And I know Buffalo fans packed that place, but I know they're talking on social media. Oh, yeah, we helped with your barn. You weren't saying a word when Rochester stood up and won that game. Shame on you all, but thanks for coming to the game. Hartley made 42 saves. Dane and Josh combined for 2 goals on 35 shots. Again, shout out to Hartley. How big of a statement, Captain, did Rochester make on a scale of 1 to 10?
Okay, I'm just going to throw out that
you can talk about the game too. I don't care.
Yeah, they had a great game, but one thing to look at is that Buffalo had a couple like the Snoo, couple back end injuries.
Yeah, Belcher to Snoo, yeah.
You know, and again, this is why I'm saying like you look, you know, from a betting perspective, like you're looking at the night before and then the day of on both teams. Like Buffalo's announcing injuries coming into it. Rochester had some back end injuries too, but
yeah,
that definitely helps Rochester for sure. I'm gonna throw out like probably like an 8 for a statement, just because of them playing the night before, so coming in fired up, ready to play, and you know a slight point off for Buffalo's D being a little banged up, but
right.
I'm pumped they got that win at home with that crowd. That's what that franchise needed, so that was huge.
I'm going with a 10. A 10, baby! Because I told people about a week ago now, maybe 2 weeks ago, I said Rochester, and I knew the Colorado game really threw me for a loop because even I was looking ahead just like they were. I said, how will you play in the regular season with 2 games against Buffalo, 2 against Vancouver, I believe, and then a game against Saskatchewan? They got their first one. Shout out to Rochester. This was massive because they have not just been losing in the postseason. They've lost in the regular season to these juggernauts. And when you can show up in your first game, and again, the score of this game was 12-9. Buffalo was the one who had the week to figure this out and watch the first game. Rochester comes in there, obviously saving something for Philadelphia from Philadelphia, because Philadelphia scored like 11 goals. Buffalo scores 9. Oh my! Rochester has announced their arrival officially, in my opinion. Give me a full 10, baby.
Yeah, and you won't bet against them again, eh?
Listen, yeah. I'm more worried about Vancouver's -1.5, but that's a story for another day, another wallet. So unbelievable. I had to get a new wallet this weekend.
I almost did, if you know.
Yeah, 4,000 wouldn't fit all in one. Good for you. Colorado at Georgia. Now, before we get to this game, Kyler Goy did make a comment earlier. Lyle Thompson had concrete shoes on Saturday. That is brutal, man. That's
awesome. I love it.
Unbelievable. Brett Dobson, I just gave him my Lunchbox Award, my Dusty Lunchables. 50 saves, 6 goals allowed. Colorado wins 7-5, though. Captain, how concerned should Georgia be with this not good offense?
Yeah, so just so you know, there are 4 teams tied for goals for the season. So
right.
Georgia, the Seals, Toronto Rock, Vancouver Warriors all have 41 goals for this season.
I love this. I love where you're going with this.
So you should be concerned because Georgia has 1 more game played than all these teams.
Yeah.
And then if you want to flip it, Vancouver, Toronto Rock, and the Seals all have 41 goals against, and Georgia's got 35 goals against, and again, one more game played. So
yeah,
if you have that lockdown defense and goaltending right now to have the least amount of goals against in the season, and you can't put up numbers up front, there is a red alarm. 10.10. We're going for an 11 here to be concerned about this offense, man. Like, that's scary.
You know what's even scarier is Lyle is obviously not good right now. And Shane Jackson's been pretty decent. Unlike Oshawa, and I told people I was not really concerned with Oshawa, and now I feel good about that. And they're not all the way back yet, but they've looked a lot better. Where's the Alex Simmons, Dyson Williams, Ty Kurtz for this team? Because it's Lyle. We can't keep relying on the fact that Lyle Thompson was the best player probably 4 or 5 years ago. We can't keep relying on that in Georgia. And I agree with Kai. It's embarrassing. Like, how do you get more fans in the barn? Make sure the goalie is not the only person performing well. And they have some good rookies, but it's like for years, like this team has supposedly been good, but not good enough. I remember like the first season doing the show, it was like they're good, but no one thinks they're good enough. And they haven't been for 4 years that I've been doing the show. So what's got to give? I do agree they have to make some moves. Out of any team in the league, they've got to make some offensive moves, because if they don't, Brett Dobson's great year is going to be flat out wasted, man.
Yeah, look, like,
it's bad.
Are we looking at them to be sellers at the deadline? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
But
Q hasn't even played yet, but but the thing is, Q wasn't even good last year. His efficiency was not great. High usage and not very much volume for that. Another thing is, I feel like this is a look ahead for me, Captain. I think Calgary's going to beat them, dude. I think they're going to beat them down, dude.
Calgary's in a great spot there. The way Walsh
their
is holding the back
good.
end, and that too, like, their offense can go off.
Yeah.
Georgia, and I've said this too many times, they're a very boring team to watch. There's no spark in either end other than Dobby, but like, a goalie can't go score goals too, dude. So they have
ask Doug Dimison how he felt the first 3 games. It was brutal.
Oh yeah, you probably want to go to a dark place, but staying
but
in there.
Good for Colorado for a win there. But the story of this game is Georgia, because once again, where they played, it was 12-3 in Colorado. So what happened at home? That's not a good look.
Not at all.
All right, finally. Halifax at Oshawa. We're going to play the video after we get to our overreaction question here. Yeah. Oshawa, not just won, they beat them down and pissed them off. Again, we'll get to that point. But 16-9, a sold-out crowd, which apparently equals 5,971. Good for them. Ty Kurtz, 7 goals. Doug Dimison, 39 saves, left with cramps, according to Glenn Clark. Warren Hill only made 15 saves in 22 minutes. Halifax had 88 penalty minutes, but before we get to that part, was this Halifax fatigue, or is Oshawa all the way back?
I'm going to find kind of a perfect combination of both. Like Patty, with more of his experience in the league and everything.
Right.
I thought that was a hard travel night, but it wasn't too bad. I definitely think they were tired. Like, Oshawa got off to a 5-1 first quarter lead, which was huge.
Yeah.
Warren Hill might have come down to earth a little bit.
Again, yeah.
8 goals against on 23 shots.
Yeah.
But Oshawa did look good. They were getting into the inside like way more now. Is it them all the way back or Halifax fatigued? I kind of want to find a little bit of both in there and say it's, probably about 50-50. But it was great to see Oshawa put up numbers in front of another sold out crowd. Like, that was the big highlight for that night for sure.
Agreed. So before I get to that, I actually want to ask Pat Gregoire if he's in the comments now. He commented on the Georgia thing, saying he thinks that they have a lot of good stuff on the back end, but the offense is terrible. Pat, question for you, pal, and question for you, Captain. You see how Riley Hutchcraft started the game for Rochester and gave Hartley a little bit of rest? It seems like they would have let Hutchcraft go the whole way if it had not started bad. Do you think after the way Warren Hill played so well, do you think maybe giving Hutchison the first quarter would have helped? I don't know. I don't want to give him excuses, but I'm feeling that kind of an idea. Like, I know Hartley's got the injury history too, but it kind of like makes sense, maybe.
I think like Hill, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, Hill got 58 shots against in Ottawa. So he got peppered. Wow. He had a lot of work the night before. So I think having him take the second half of tonight or last game off will be a refresher for him. I don't think I in no way would, from a coaching perspective, in my mind, I would be starting Hill next game for sure. I don't think he needs any more time off, but I think having that second half of that Oshawa game off was probably perfect for him.
Yeah. Now, but I mean, like, just to start the game, maybe throw in Hutch, because Hutch has shown he's like, in terms of like Hutchcraft and Hutchison, I feel like they're both pretty good backup goalies, like some of the best in the league. So I wouldn't mind that at all.
They are, but you also got to know, like some, depending on the mentality of the competitor, like look at Marty Brodeur, like the guy wanted to start every game of the regular season. So you got to think like Hill's doing as good as he is. Why would he want to take a night off? Like you kind of got to keep the positive train rolling if mentally you think you can.
Pat said Warren has been too good. Hartley was bad against Colorado.
And that's a great point. Like, Hartley, you're kind of giving him a little bit of a correction where, Hill, I don't think you need to correct anything. He's been standing tall all season.
This is another great point. Warren had 2 goals against Oshawa. There you go. The first game. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
We got to play this video, man. Because I have been a little bit vocal about Halifax and have taken some heat for it. Don't care, says Glenn Clark.
Last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, obviously, tempers started to flare. But it's talking about the resiliency and the composure when needed that your team showed tonight.
Yeah, that's hard, right? Because you're not initiating it; you're trying to sort of get out of it. But it's it's kind of I don't like it. I mean, I think it's a waste of time. I think the league has to step in there because I don't think it's a made for TV event. I think it looks terrible, and when it's predictable, that's a problem.
Just to kind of double back on that, which part do you think the league needs to step in on specifically?
Well, they just when you've got teams that are teeing off when the game's out of hand and running through the crease to fight a goalie and jumping on guys and intentionally trying to hurt players. Pick one of those.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for being there, and thank you for Gary Group for sending that to us for us to use. We appreciate Gary and all the work that he does. We use all the time is the podcast thing.
All across all the time, Gary Group. Yes, thank you.
Captain
had another malfunction again.
Good for you. So before we get to what we each think the league should do, I just want to mention, because this was a major part of this game. Lucky for the Halifax Thunderbirds, our watch. Well, let me tell you, it was during that game, but whatever. My point is with this, Dawson Thied. There are people who are still trying to be a little bit like, oh, well, I don't think he meant bull crap. Stop it. Dawson Thied had all game to hit Doug Jamieson in the throat. He didn't. He decided not to. Waited for Andrew Kidd to come in, and not only did Dawson Thied do that, I don't know Dawson Thied. I don't know what kind of person he is. He also, in the tail end of that after the Andrew Kidd aftermath, Kyle Rubish tries to take him away, and Dawson Thied, while Rubish has his helmet on, is punching him and is dragging him. Now, I don't know at what point lacrosse or hockey people draw the line. Seems like it might have been about there. Because it seems like at some point your team is getting their butts kicked. No swear jar for charity from this guy. Their butts kicked, and all you do is think that, oh yeah, we're start fights. What is the point of that? As Glenn Clark said, it's predictable. So, Captain, I ask you this. Do you think the NLL should step in? And if so, what would they do?
So, like, I do agree that, fighting belongs in the league.
Agreed.
But, like, when you have a close match, you're trying to change the tempo. Sometimes there's a little emotions behind it. So, people square off. But when when it's a runaway train and you got guys, pulling stunts that they were on the floor that night, you definitely need to kind of clean that up. Some of it got the crowd going from time to time, but from like the true fan perspective, like it's the game's out of hand here. Why are we going to risk having any of our star players take injuries for nothing? Even regardless of star players, like Kidd, that was a good shot he took, and I was live right basically on the goal line watching that play, and like right from the start, like I didn't see anything about it being anything other than like an attempt to kind of stir the pot and get it going. Maybe he didn't mean to go directly for the head, but I just felt it's an unnecessary sort of dive into the goalie with that kind of score and that kind of game. But the league definitely just needs to address some of that extracurricular stuff when we're gonna again, why risk a Williams getting injured or somebody getting injured for nothing?
So I want to remind people, because I believe this is still a thing last time I checked, but I believe, like, especially in the last few minutes of the game, if there is a game misconduct, I believe like the league like either might review. I don't think it's automatic suspension, but they do review that stuff already. And like I said before, it was 88 penalty minutes, which is absolutely insane. It's even better they only had 16 against Ottawa the night before. So it seemed like they were fine, like they had cleaned it up somehow. And then this game, and I will admit this as well, a lot of those same guys were in the playoffs a couple years ago when Albany and Halifax teed off at the end of that, and Albany kind of took them by surprise as the young team. And I believe that like Oshawa is the team, like Saskatchewan, that may want to toe the line a little bit. But again, if all it takes is getting under your skin by playing a lacrosse game, by being the physical team, then that's an issue. Like, at what point do you just live to fight another day? And it's not just that. Your team is always the one with the problem overreacting. No one else is.
Yeah, and that being said, like I don't think, like when Oshawa was getting run out of the barn in Halifax, like I don't think they were starting anything. We've had a few other teams get blown out this year, Colorado to Georgia in that game. Like they weren't going and starting to, go for blood at that point. So yeah, no, you're right. Like that definitely needs to be addressed.
It's funny, at 12:15 a.m., it was 88 penalty minutes. It's down to 78. Regardless, it still applies.
Yeah, not 9-10-minute misconducts in that game.
Yeah, it's just, and a lot of it was in the last few minutes. And so I guess my answer to what do I think the league should do, I don't know if and I don't even think the fans are going to know about it unless someone like me or someone else reports it. I think internally tell Halifax every game they have that turns like that will be reviewed. And I don't know if that means the league has to step in and suspend people if Halifax does not. I know they already do that with game misconduct anyways, but they have got to find a way to keep player safety. Like, again, fights are fun.
Oh, yeah.
We learned that brings a lot of attention. But eventually, it's like if one team is the one doing this, it has to be addressed somehow, even if no one knows about it.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
So, good stuff there from Glenn Clark. Other stuff he said in the press conference, but that was the one that we had to talk about for sure on the show. Thanks so much, Captain. I'm just going to end the show now because was like, I'm going to do one more thing before the show. What is it? Make a 3 stars graphic, you doofus. So here's my 3 stars this weekend, Captain, just because you're here. All right. 3rd star goes to CJ Kurst, who had 5 goals, 1 primary assist, 5 loose balls, and 1 caused turnover. These are all winning performances, by the way. Kurst helped the Rock beat Trevor Baptiste and the Seals. 2nd star goes to Ryan Keenan, who had a sock trick with 4 primary assists, 13 loose balls, 1 caused turnover. And if you're counting secondary assists, Adam Levy did say that was the first 12, and 1 caused turnover game in NLL history. Ty Kurt's 1st star in person, Captain saw it. 7 goals, 1 primary assist, 4 loose balls. Why did he make it over Ryan Keenan? Because I believe like 3 of the first 4 goals were by Ty Kurtz, and he got them going. So good for a birthday boy too.
Yeah, I was fangirling in there, and I managed not to embarrass myself this week. It was hard, but I did her.
Good stuff. So let me see. Let me just make sure how old Ty. He's now 27. You feel old yet, Captain?
Oh yeah.
I always find when people like in sports are like getting like way younger. They're like, God, I'm 29. This dude's like tearing up the National Lacrosse League. What have I chosen in my life? Media guy. Thank you. Thank you, Captain, from Boots on the Ground. Thank you, Pat Gregoire, for joining earlier. That's the show. We're ending it now. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. This has been Daily Dive. Bye.